they went out on the air on Monday and said they had gone to Mar-a-Lago to bend the knee. I was saying to Paul Murray on Sky News that they didn't just bend the knee. They got down on their snake bellies and they slithered and they licked the boot. They licked it. Yes, it tastes so good. I love the bottom of your boot, sir. Please give it to me more. That's really what happened. Then they come back out on the air on Monday and say like, oh, we spoke truth to power. Why wouldn't we speak to Hitler, the rapist, racist, bigoted, sexist, misogynist Hitler? That's just what we do as journalists. And then they're already circling the bowl audience left in even greater numbers. So as of Tuesday, they had shaved another tens of thousands more off their already terrible numbers. In the key demo of 25 to 54-year-olds, they were down to 78,000 viewers on Tuesday. 78,000. Wow. That is just 25,000 or so above what we call in the business slashies. If you get 50 grand or under, they call them slashies. They don't give you the number. A slashie is unthinkable at Fox News. There is no show that ever gets a slashie. And MSNBC has been beyond the slashies now for a number of years. Hello, Joe and Mika. You're back to slashy land. So they came out the next day already experiencing the blowback because this meeting made no one happy and tried to tell us it wasn't as we felt, that actually everybody loved what they did. What they did was terrific and really well received. Here's a bit of it.
Yesterday I saw for the first time what a massive disconnect there was between social media and the real world. Because we were flooded with phone calls from people all day, literally around the world. Very positive, very supportive, going, understand what you do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But once in a while I would get a text or a call from someone and go, oh man, I hope you're doing okay. And I call him back and I go, well, Eddie go out to his phone and I go, Eddie, are you on Twitter? And he goes, I am. I go, okay, well, I'm not. So we've had a good day. All of us are going to do the best we can do, and we're all working towards a better America.
Take it day by day.
Day by day. And again, you can predict the future by shaping the future.
Okay. Twitter's not real life, you see. In real life, people loved that they went and met with President Trump. All 78,000 of them, they loved it out of an audience that should be 600,000. But those people really loved it, Andrew. Don't believe your lying eyes.
And Comcast is ready to toss the entire station out the window.
Can you blame them?
Separating themselves. They're going to sell them. Yeah, I may buy them. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure I can afford Rachel Maddow's $30 million a year salary.
Well, let me ask you something. If you actually did buy Comcast or MSNBC, because it's going to be spun off by Comcast, who would you fire first?
Well, if it's true that Rachel Maddow is making $30 million a year, I mean, I don't worry about her because she can always, make a living as a Michael Knowles lookalike. But I think that it's, I think that it's insane to pay somebody that when nobody is watching her. And
for 1 hour of television a week.
I know. And Brian Stelter, used to make the argument when nobody was watching him. Brian Stelter used to make the argument, well, yeah, but they break out our bits and they go out on YouTube and all this stuff and people don't watch them there as well. And I suppose that was supposed to build up to a massive audience of people not watching them. But, I think that they are useless. And the thing that they never get to, Brian Stelter had this wonderful thread on X where he said, we need to win back our audience by doing things like podcasts. We don't do enough podcasts. And I was like, stop lying. You got to stop lying. That's number one. You can do a podcast.
Yeah.
Number 5 is do a podcast, but number 1 is stop lying. And they just
lie
don't
in more
get it.
places.
They really don't. Yeah, that's right. The funny thing is a lot of people who voted for Donald Trump didn't like Donald Trump, which is important. That's actually shows in his favor. That shows how bad they thought the other side was, how much they didn't believe them, how much they thought. I saw a Kamala Harris voter interviewed, and she said, well, maybe Trump will do some good things like end all the wars and bring the economy back. And I thought, yeah, that would be good. I'd be
Was that voter Mika Brzezinski? Because that's how they're trying to sound like, we're open-minded now to Hitler. Sure. Okay.
And Biden looks ecstatic. So he's at least somebody's really happy about the results in the Democrat Party. So.
Well, I do think it's very interesting that Comcast chose now to announce it's going to spin off its disgusting cable channel. And it's not because NBC News is doing so well and they just want to separate the struggling MS from NBC. NBC is also doing very poorly. We have beaten NBC News on its YouTube feed for months now, just my show, just this one show has beaten all of NBC on their YouTube feed. They're in a lot of trouble over there. So they're not doing well either. So why spin off MSNBC? It's because it's the disgusting, like, wart-covered evil troll that, like, came to live with you and wouldn't leave. Like, they're looking at it like, ew, my God, what? We don't want our vaunted Today Show anchors to have to associate with those troll ogres over there who, as I point out, are on their bellies licking the boot right now. Mr. President, please let me back in the circles of power. No wonder they want to spin this thing off.
Well, we on the right I keep hearing people on the right say things like, well, there's problems on both sides. But the fact is there actually aren't, we haven't had enough cultural power to have the kind of problems they have. It's power that corrupts. And I'm sure if we had the kind of cultural power they have, there would be corrupt people on our side. But if I listen to your show, I get a very factual, balanced look at things. You have a point of view, you have to the conservative side point of view, but you always give the facts on both sides. They never do that. They never do it. The radicals on the right are on the comment section on Breitbart, where the radicals on the left are in Congress and in the White House. And I think it's a big difference. Power corrupts, and they have become incredibly corrupt. And I still have a lot of Democrat friends. I hope I can still count them as friends, and they just don't see it. They keep saying, well, there are a lot of Nazis on X. And I think, some groiper in his mother's basement is posting on X and giggling away and all this stuff. But their people pour out into their campuses celebrating Hamas, and the slaughter of Jewish people. It's not the same thing. It is not the same thing. And so the fact that their news stations are dying, it's well deserved. They earned it. They worked for that. That is not something they got overnight. It wasn't given to them. It wasn't handed to them. That failure has been earned by a constant stream of bias and corruption and dishonesty. And I think, we have to congratulate them on a job well done. They have made themselves completely irrelevant. And I just love the fact, this is all about the new media. It's all about the new media. It's the fact that we can now fact check them in real time. They can come out and say, oh, Trump is calling for a bloodbath. We can get that video out with the real deal, with what he really said, almost instantaneously. And a lot of that, is credit, it's credit to places like the Daily Wire and Joe Rogan and all that, but it's also to the credit of Elon Musk, who, after all, was a big hero to the left and then suddenly started getting investigated the minute he gave right-wingers the right to speak. But that's what's happened. What's happened is that the curtain has been drawn back. We see that it's all one party speaking to us. We see that they're not telling the truth. And people, they kind of like reality. People don't mind being lied to, but they hate the effects of being lied to. Like, they want to be told they can fly, but they don't like it when they fall off a building. And that's what's happened. Just an amazing example, Megyn. This idea that it was hammered into us that we dopes didn't realize that the economy was great. Just because you can't afford a pat of butter doesn't mean that I'm me in the media, I'm doing well. I'm doing well, so the economy is great. How do you tell people, where do you get the temerity, the guts, the gall to tell people that the economy is great and that they don't know that they can't afford stuff? That they are somehow mystified. It's a delusion that they have that they can't afford to feed their families. It's an amazing arrogance, an amazing dishonesty, an amazing bias, and it has just been swept away. Donald Trump has swept it away. I'm ready to just, whatever award they have for like political genius, I'm ready to give it to him. I know you've had troubles with him in the past, but we've all had troubles with him in the past and at some level. Yeah. But it is a work of genius.
As a brilliant friend of mine once said, past is like your ass behind you. For those of us holding our breath for the past several months, we can finally exhale. Doesn't it feel like that? Work can finally be done on the major issues this country is facing, and it will be. One of the most significant, our national debt. The fact is our nation is broke, and that debt is a house of cards that can't be quickly dismantled. So the strategy remains the same. You might want to diversify your savings. This is why I want to tell you about Birch Gold. So many things are out of our control and out of our president's control. So it can be really important to have a safe haven for your savings. Birch Gold Group can help you convert an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold. And the best news is it doesn't cost you 1 cent out of pocket. Text MK to 989898 now to get your free info kit. Plus, right now through Black Friday, you're going to receive a free 1-ounce silver eagle for every $5,000 purchased. Protect your savings with Birch Gold. Text MK to 989898 and claim your eligibility for free silver today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.